nobody makes something on their own. In order to get something made, you have to have flexibility, I think, in your thinking and your ways of seeing your idea and getting feedback and being not like immediately met with, no, we can't do that.
I find that it happens, life happens when you're making other plans. I think great work happens when you're making other work. Yeah. When you're like working really hard on this thing that you're like, no, this is the answer. And then something shifts and you realize that you have a better answer on your hands.
A garden of pure ideology.
Yeah, just your typical Super Bowl car ad.
Or a hilarious beer ad.
Break was over 15 minutes ago, Mitch!
I think you're the best ever.
I think we're going to be here a while.
Hello, everyone. We are back for Filmmakers in Advertising. My name is Justin Rossbacher. I'm standing in for Cody Wilson, who is out marketing his debut feature film, Legions, which we're really excited about. Our production company was involved and finished up post on that, and we were able to go to 2 film festivals recently, and it's getting some good buzz. So look forward to give more updates on that. On today's show, we're thrilled to be joined both by Christine Taffe, Creative Director at Orchard Creative, and Heather Larimer, Executive Creative Director at Orchard Creative. Individually, they each bring an impressive resume. Christine started her career at Fallon, and Heather also has worked at Wieden Kennedy and Media Arts Lab. Their work includes projects for Etsy, Google, Nike, Apple, Target, Volvo, and Quilted Northern, just to name a few. My favorite, Volvo. I'd love to talk more about that. I can't wait to get into it. But Christine and Heather, great to have you both on the show today. And also joining today, we have Michelle Mundt.
Hello.
Our associate producer at Cry. Excited to have you too. So it's nice to be in person.
It's great.
Most of the time we do these on Zoom or facsimile like Zoom. So it's nice to be. It's different energy.
It's great.
This is way more fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so how long have you guys worked together?
4.5 years.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
And who is first at Orchard Creative?
This one, Christine.
Yeah, I started March 2020. I was living in Minneapolis, and at the time, Jeff Kling was the CCO of Fallon, and then he was one of the original people that started Orchard with Barney and Laura. And I, had been at Fallon for 6 years, and I always wanted to move to New York, and it finally kind of felt like the right time. So the universe laughed and said, haha, can't move to New York for another 1.5 years because of COVID. But I finally got out here, and it's been great. But yeah, then you joined, and my life changed forever.
Same girl.
What brought you?
One of my old Wieden colleagues, Jim Lasser, was the ECD. And he was working on a diet yogurt project, and he admitted that he had never been on a diet. I think is how I remember it. And I was like, well, I have.
Huge flex.
I have.
Huge flex, Jim.
I have a lot to say. He might have said, I don't know how to write about this, but I heard it as I've never been on a diet. And I was like, well, I have a lot to say about this. And then I met the founder and CSO, Laura Janess, and we just started like ripping it about diet culture. And I was so invigorated and joined. And then Christine interviewed me.
That's crazy, yeah.
She did the job interview. And do you remember you were like, what's your deal?
I don't remember that. No.
Yeah. She did, but I loved it. She was like, what's your deal? And I think I said something really grandiose, like, I'm here to blow up the bro infrastructure. Her eyebrows raised. And I was like, I'm serious. And she was like, okay.
Manifesto, Guerrilla Girls, kind of like, we're going to do something different. I was like, cool. Well, I'm just working on some scripts for something way less cool than that, but I love it.
Yeah.
And?
I think we've actually accomplished much of the mission we discussed so far in that without talking about it, without publishing our mission. But I guess this is sort of a leak. But I'm actually really proud. I remember when we won our first award for Jiggle, I burst into tears. And I was on Zoom with Christine and Doe. And I said something like, people like us don't get to make work like this. And I was like sobbing because we're women and Do is from Korea and came to the U.S. as an exchange student in Missouri. And I was just so proud that I think a lot of people would think that two pretty cool bros made that spot, and it was us. And I just was really proud because I have felt like women get cut out of comedy. There have been a couple of jobs or like freelance jobs I've interviewed for and been told I wasn't funny enough, which is ridiculous.
You're hilarious.
But I'm like, am I not funny enough, or do I just not look like you think a funny person looks? You know? Am I not doing it right? And so, you know, that was part of the manifesto.
Yeah, and I don't know, I find it so interesting because, like, I kind of fell into this career in many ways. You know, early days, I was like the social media gal, and that's how I came into Fallon as a community manager on Talenti Gelato. And I was kind of like, we'll see how this goes. I don't know. I had no oversight. I was like under the account department, and somebody showed Jeff my tweets, and rest is history. But the thing that the long-winded way of getting into back to Jiggle is like, I don't have knowledge of like how the structure of ad comedy works. Like, I didn't go to portfolio school. Like, I don't have like an encyclopedic knowledge about how that's done. And so I think Jiggle is so interesting because, and I think part of the reason why I was successful is like, you don't treat it like comedy. You treat it very seriously. And I think working with Jeff Lowe as the director he's such a student of that way of working too. Whereas like the best comedy, I think best movies, best shows treat comedy really seriously. It's like, it's logical, and it's like in this
And rigorous.
And Jeff Kling that's his style as well. I mean, David is as well, is where it's like, I think some of the best creative directors and best directors we've worked with, it's not like, what's going to be the funniest thing? It's like, what is our world we're building? What within this surreal world that we are building together, what would they do? Where would they go? Like,
What are the rules of the world?
Yeah, like nobody's really laughing when we, like, Jiggle was amazing to see it come to life. Like, once it was finally shooting, we were like, oh, we're doing this. Like, Jeff Lowe is screaming at them like, 8, 9, 11, like telling, you know, and so we were seeing the bigness of it, but like up
As
until
far as
that,
like the level
of
intensity
freaking out.
Exactly.
Okay,
And
yeah.
we were like, oh, somebody's going to die. Like,
Yeah.
11 was terrifying. We were looking at each other like, oh, shit.
yeah, I think the final cut was like an 8.5, but
We're definitely going to put a link to that because it's fantastic.
thanks.
This spot.
think
And I
that's-
also am jealous because I want to know how on earth you pitched that. I got that through.
Want to talk about it?
Yeah, well, okay.
Wanna talk about
We can
it?
go to it, yeah.
It was really interesting. We had sold it and built this platform about like cranberries and power, you know, to like help people. It was
a really good strategy.
Yeah, really good strategy by like Laura Janess and Sarah Garman. And
Tell me
They're
more.
both brilliant.
And power.
so it needed to be a reintroduction to the cranberry. Like, everybody knows Ocean Spray pretty much. There's not really an issue in terms of knowing the brand, knowing what cranberry juice is, knowing what, you know, but people kind of put it in this one, like, just juice, or don't really think about it too much. So it was our job to like do like work that forced reappraisal of the cranberry. And so the platform was like, what will you do with all that power? That was the line. We made some like animated stuff work in the beginning that really kind of like made you see a cranberry differently, hopefully. So then holiday came around, and the strategy was cranberries have the power to party this holiday season.
Oh, that's a good line.
Yeah, and the brief specifically said, like, don't talk about the jelly, which was totally fair because they're like, it sells itself. Like, we want to promote like juice and other.
They said, don't talk about it.
Yeah, they said don't talk about it. But what was so cool was like, we did a bunch of like exactly to brief work, and then we had another section that was like, but what if?
Let's get wild.
But like, what if you actually want to show versus tell power? If that's what we really need to communicate, then here you go. And it was really just, the script was like one paragraph of like, boring party, guy comes in with some jelly, everybody, it starts to move, everybody moves. And then like a GIF of, it was like 2 GIFs.
We called it ding dong for a while because it was like ding dong.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you open the door and it's hello.
And then it was just it was 2 GIFs. It was like a GIF of like the wiggling cranberry jelly and then a GIF from Turned Down for What. And
I forgot that.
because it's just like, I mean, like so much of our job is just like closing an imagination gap. Like, 'cause you know the psychological study that's like how people see an apple, back to apples. It's like there's a scale of like, I'm picturing an apple, I'm picturing it as a 3-dimensional Honeycrisp, the light's coming in from the right-hand side, it's rotating. A lot of people, a majority of people actually see it as a like 2D sketch, like
like the cartoon that.
you know what I mean? Like, so, and I have
like
to remember
a game
that.
of concentration.
Yeah.
The apple card.
Exactly.
Oh,
So-
yes.
Exactly.
Concentration.
That's what it is.
Wow, that brought me back.
So like when we're presenting, I think a lot of people put a lot of pressure on themselves to like create the perfect comp or like have it all like, or under rev. And it's like, often you just have to find the right levers to be like, this is what we mean. This is not exactly what it'll be, but this is the vibe of, and kind of, you have to almost create like a little bit of a mood board for people, because I'm like, in my mind, I see this, like I can completely picture this entire spot. That's not how a lot of brains work. And that's not like good or bad, but like, that's our job, is to be like, how do I not just sell this idea, but help you understand what I'm seeing in my brain,
Right.
in order to get us there faster.
Yeah.
And
with this one, it was the unasked for.
yeah,
I think so. Yeah, it was.
I mean, they literally said, "Don't talk about the jelly."
yeah. And but like,
And
and that
then
was
you ended up doing an award-winning spot about the jelly.
but it was a good instinct. Like, it was a good brief.
Yeah.
It was like, it totally made business sense to say that. And I think huge props to our client, Dan Hamilton and Monisha at the time. Like, but that's the thing. It's like, as an agency, like we have to show everything. We have to show what it would look like to approach the brief as written. And then like, what would it be like to kind of listen so hard through it? It's like, almost, how do you answer like through the brief?
Brief behind the
'Cause
brief.
It didn't feel like we were being like like we're not doing what you said. Like, it felt really logical to us that like, if this, then that. But like, also there was a lot of ways to do it. It just ended up being right place, right time. And
I've heard it said, like, don't give them what they asked for, give them what they want. So
Yeah.
you have to look through what they're asking for to sometimes find what they actually want.
totally. And yeah, I just, huge credit to our clients, honestly, because
It was
it was
brave.
kind of, it was really brave.
It was really, really brave. And it feels, I think it's really hard. I think it's true of like a lot of great things that happen to a person in their life is they actually had very little control over it. Most of the amazing things that have happened to me were not, I was not driving. That's really hard to make peace with. And it's hard to make peace with as a creative, that you just show up, do the work, do your best. And then a lot of it you just can't control. And I think that this is a good example of it, where, I mean, I think it's an amazing piece of work and we had an amazing time making it, but we also got really lucky that it just survived the like gauntlet. But I think often it's like, this is making me think about a lot of my favorite work of the last few years has been made in this kind of Hail Mary moment. Not what I would say was like the bulk of ideas delivered on a particular brief, but this kind of desperation or just like, screw it, let's just throw in this weird thing, like that ends up sort of making it through. I find that it happens, you know, what life happens when you're making other plans. I think great work happens when you're making other work. Yeah. When you're like working really hard on this thing that you're like, no, this is the answer. And then something shifts and you realize that you have a better answer on your hands.
And I do want to give a shout out to Laura, co-founder, Laura Janess, and Sarah Garman at the time, strat director, that like, because of the way Orchard operates, where like creative, production, account, strategy works really closely the whole time, but specifically creative and strategy, like we have strategy partners basically. And like we work so closely with Laura or Nusrat or, you know, like our strategy they are our partners. And so I think because we've worked so closely with them, it has totally changed the way that we sell work. Because I've been part of the Hail Mary presentations in my life where I'm like, the strategy team had to back into the idea like 10 minutes ago. And we're all just like sweating, sitting in the chairs being like, hope this works, guys. This is crazy. But like, it
doesn't happen.
But even the
at
ideas
Orchard,
at Orchard, it's like that feel crazy are not, because it's like everything is so deeply rooted in an insight and like a real reason to believe in it. And as a creative, I've grown exponentially under that way of thinking, because I think it makes you as a creative be more responsible to being able to explain an idea and give a client a reason to buy it and a reason to feel comfortable. Like, it should feel obvious when it's presented in that way, like with really rich insight driven strategy. It should feel like, well, obviously you would make Jiggle, you know, and it doesn't feel so much like a Hail Mary, I think. And that's like huge reason in part for our strategy department at Orchard. It's really, really, really special.
Amazing.
How did Orchard get its name, or where does that come from?
That's such a good question. I mean, it started as Lightning Orchard in 2020, or before, I guess, before I started. But we found out people don't really know how to spell the word lightning. Like, genuinely. People put an extra E in there, lightning. And it just was, I think, a mouthful. And I think Laura's talked about how, Barney and Laura have talked about how, like, the word orchard just, like, it inspires a lot of growth and fruitfulness. Like, there's a lot of ways to kind of...
In community, because there's
Totally,
a bunch of trees and
Yeah.
could be
We were
apples.
talking about-
Bring
Again,
back around.
apples.
Yes.
Exactly.
We're back.
And the idea generation of working with people
Yeah.
and then trying to create these rich, developing ideas. It just sounds like a seed growing. So I
Totally.
wasn't sure if that's how, you're...
I think so.
Name came
It's
from.
it's a very, for me, it's like a peaceful, dreamy place too, where you lay on your back and look up through the branches at the clouds. I think of it as like a creative safe space.
Yeah.
So I like the image as a creative.
Yeah, absolutely.
An apple could fall, hit you in the head, and then you have an idea.
Yes.
An
Break your
aha
nose.
moment.
Newton's law
Exactly.
of advertising.
There you go.
Yes.
Absolutely. How often do you guys work together? Or is
Constantly.
it pretty much every project now? Like,
Not every project, because just the nature of the agency, we have
And
to
we're both writers.
divide and conquer. Yeah, and we have
Yeah.
redundant disciplines, but
If only one of us could comp. Unstoppable.
you're a lot better at comping than me. Yeah, so we collaborate a lot, but we work with a lot of other people.
Is there a way that you guys typically divide tasks when you're collaborating on a project?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's different every time. Probably the best example is like when we have a new Etsy brief and writing scripts, we'll usually both kind of attack it separately and then come back together to see where we landed. But she's such a excellent script and manifesto writer that like she'll often like attack like the higher order things, and I'm really good at like creating the structure of spots, but I think I've learned from you to write those big boys. But it's different every time though.
And just for our listener audience, when you say manifesto versus structure of spots.
Yeah, so I'll give an example for Etsy. We've been working up to a line, gifts that say I get you, or for like maybe the Waldo campaign.
Love that one.
Thank you.
Yes. And Drummer Boy. Is that-
And Drummer Boy.
Oh, I cried.
Oh,
Good. I love making
so
people
glad.
cry.
oh, so glad.
great.
But yeah, like usually, to really sell in a new line, or sometimes it's a spot, but not often, you'll need some sort of like kind of higher order point of view. I think a lot of bad manifestos, they're in there mostly bad, no fault of like a writer, but it's just like it gets really ad poetry really quickly, where you're just kind of like waxing about
Yeah,
a brand,
sandwiches.
and it's
What
like
do we mean when we say sandwiches?
Yes,
No one needs that.
And so the better manifestos, or that and the really good ones can turn into a script, right? Is a point of view that like you're fighting for. It's like we wrote one together for Etsy that was, they want to do a campaign about gifting and birthdays. And so we had a script that was, the point of view is don't celebrate birthdays. Celebrate the specific things about somebody. Don't do the rote birthday party. Like every single person is special and deserves like their special, unique gifts. It's about seeing people, right? And so that kind of point of view, don't celebrate birthdays, I think is one of the examples of a manifesto turning into a campaign. Or you could talk about Keep Climbing, because I think that was very much in that world.
I think just finding like the core ethos of something, and often to me it exists in opposition to the context, like don't celebrate birthdays. Or when Keep Climbing emerged, it was like in the context of airlines just talking about how great flying was, but really people hate airlines and hate flying, or they did then, but other airlines were being really disingenuous about that. We love to fly and it shows. It was like, I think that was, it's like, no, you don't, and neither do I. Come on. And so
this sucks. I don't want to get up at 6
we're
a.m.
pissed.
and fly across the country for our meeting.
Exactly.
This sucks.
This sucks. You treat me like crap. I'm miserable. Why are we doing this? And that's why Keep Climbing has stuck around, is because it's like, why are we doing this? It's a pain to go through TSA at 4:30 a.m., but you do it because
you love TSA.
Yes. But, so I think that's what good manifestos do, is really look at the context of the product, the context of the brand, and the context of the world, and like where they intersect, and be like, what is a sort of provocative, or what is the truth under the truth? I think I've been kind of obsessed with that for the last couple of years.
I love that.
As the person in my family who would say the thing that nobody wanted to hear, I've just like channeled that into a career of like, how can I say the thing that no one's quite comfortable saying?
Yeah.
That's why I Just Do It is the best tagline of all time, is because the truth is that is the secret to most things, is just feeling, fill in the blank, afraid, lazy, sad, but just doing it anyway. And that's why that's the best tagline of all time.
Yes.
So amazing.
That's so good.
Do you know the story about that? It came from the Executioner's song.
Right before.
Yes.
Let's just do it.
Oh, you do know it.
So good. I actually read the Executioner's song after I worked at Wyden, and I didn't know that. And I just decided, as one does, I'll read the Executioner's song. It's about the moment that Gary Gilmore is like, they're trying to be all sort of, they're trying to avoid the pain of executing someone, and make it like this communal thing where it's really nobody's responsibility, and we're going to do it in these like labyrinthine ways where you don't really know what you're doing. And he's like, just do it. Like, come on, let's be real here. And it ended up somehow working extraordinarily well.
For decades.
For decades.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's a pretty crazy story that I didn't know, but now I know. There's this kind of twitch of finding this like uncomfortable space of saying something true. And I just think what's so brilliant about that is being that true about athleticism, and what, I'm proud of about Keep Climbing is that's the truth of you. If you're a really driven person, is like, you never get there. You never get there. It never feels like you're there. You just have to get up at 4 a.m. again and keep going. And the moments that you think will feel full of glory you don't even recognize them except in the rearview mirror. And I think it's pretty cool.
Like even when you get diamond medallion status, it doesn't feel like how you thought it would be. I've only reached platinum. Feel free to reach out, Delta.
That's amazing. But to find the truth behind the truth and be able to incorporate it into kind of a tagline or a manifesto, it really does bring an amazing, like, cathartic clarity.
Yeah,
totally.
For not just the brand, but for us just as human beings, as you just kind of distilled down the Just Do It, the Keep Climbing. And it really is, that's one reason I love being in advertising, is it's a gift to create art in this particular kind of realm that is a benefit to people. Like, I think it's such a beautiful thing. So.
Yeah, and I think that when you talk about the truth, it feels like it always has to be heavy, but like, I think the reason Jiggle was so successful is that actually people have very strong feelings about that product. Yeah. Some people think it is garbage and are like horrified to see like next to them at the table. They're like, could you move that away? And that's like, we tapped right into that.
Yeah.
You know,
unintentional, but like the credit Ocean Spray got, which is so great, the amount of credit of like comments of people being like, I'm so glad you showed it with like the ridges from the can. And I don't even know if that was a conversation. Like we were like, well, we're showing it like it is. And the clients wanted that. And
It's kind of freaky.
It's kind of freaky, but it's like, it's very cool to be like, yeah, ridges and all, babe. Like, and
the spot has such a journey to it. Like it starts and it's uncomfortable and it's kind of weird just seeing it just plop there, but then it continues and it creates this inspiration. And
yeah.
My favorite
so
moment of that spot is,
self-aware. I don't know. It's just
like honestly, the thing that that's like the Chekhov's gun of the spot is the when the door opens.
Yeah. And I never really give a crap about an end card, but that was a Jeff Lowe idea to hard cut to Christmas music, which I just like.
You never give a crap about end card? Do you mean that like facetiously or in general?
I just like, I don't know. Like I think an end card could be
cool.
cool, but like it's like not usually the biggest, like the branding moment at the end isn't always like the biggest conversation, but like when he made that choice, it was like, oh, that makes this like 5 times funnier.
It really did.
Because it just like cut when it's getting the craziest into like, well, anyway,
To elevator. Yeah.
have a good time.
We just put out a campaign on Friday that we shot with Jeff again. And just as Christine was mentioning earlier, he treats comedy so seriously. And these were really funny scripts that we wrote for Casper around this concept of daymares, which is that sometimes your waking nightmares, like your real life work day, is far more horrifying than anything the subconscious could manufacture in your sleeping hours.
Yeah.
Once we had the concepts, then Jeff and David Kolbas, our CCO, were like, we have to shoot these really like horror films that are very serious. They should not in any way be shot like comedy. And those are the kind of choices that I think make Jeff so great. He's just commits.
Love that.
And I think that like is a real connective thread about a lot of directors we've worked with at Orchard. Just I think the way we work, I think goes back to that like strategy insight base. Like we do take it very seriously, comedy or not. And I think like Waldo's another great example of like Tom Spears, the director, took it very, very seriously, of like, this is about feeling close to this character you've never seen on screen before. This is about feeling his plight without getting too sad. And I think it's very easy in that kind of idea to be like, oh my gosh, really distracted by like the beautiful Waldo world to create and being very art directional heavy.
A cartoon that's come to life. Exactly. And that's not how you feel in that spot.
Totally. And he's another director that like was so passionate about certain casting decisions because he was like, there's nobody else but this guy named Adam, like who could really do this combination of, you feel for him without feeling bad for him. And he's not a caricature. He feels like a real person. And like, I think we're really lucky in the way that we work allows us to work with directors who really, really give a shit about like the correct core of an idea and aren't trying to push an agenda that brings us somewhere that, doesn't land as emotionally.
Yeah. When we shot Drummer Boy, Steve Rogers multiple times was like, we have to have rules of this world. Just because it's a holiday spot doesn't mean that we don't have rules. The decorations need to rigorously look like they are in an elementary school.
And he had elementary students in Prague do the art.
Really?
Well, the production department, but yeah. Kids did it, an authenticity even in the like weird snowman.
Did you shoot it in Prague? Is that why?
We did.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, no, the Prague children are excellent at creating paper cutout snowmen, so we had to get it imported.
Gotcha.
Famous for it.
Amazing. All right, well, back into advertising. What trends or things that you see in the future that you're excited about or you think is interesting?
I think I'm really drawn to things that are very simple and like confidently stripped back and clear. I think we went through a phase before 2020 that I think it was a lot of like crazy edits and like trying to like bring so much energy to a brand. Oh my God. And I think we're so flooded now. If you do not have your phone bricked, like it's a constant inundation, not just from ads, but from the kind of attention that's trying to be grabbed from you is just like really overwhelming. Yeah. And I think people That's not a hot take. I think everybody feels that way. And when I see something that feels like confident in being a little bit still or somehow allows me to exhale, I will like love that thing. I think about it so much longer than anything that tries to like jazz hands me. So yeah, I'm really drawn to things that are confidently simple. And I think you see that, I don't know, like even in the subway, like a really good line like Downgrade Now from Back Market that's like within one line and like one image of a iPod shuffle. You're like, yeah, I totally understand everything that you're about, and you like you know who you are.
I don't know the ad you're talking about.
Yeah, it's just like it's just one that came to mind.
I've seen it
I
too.
was like, it's connected to like being overwhelmed with things and wanting to like tap out. And so I think in our industry, it behooves us to take that really seriously. And even though it might be like within the confines of our conference rooms, it's like, oh yeah, we need to like bake energy, get people excited, like, because we're excited. But the way that you do that, I think like Jiggle is another great example of like show don't tell that I think is more successful even on a small screen, because it's not trying to do too much too fast.
Yeah. And it's going back to what you had mentioned before about finding that truth under the truth.
Sure.
It's almost like you're creating these proverbs, and these quiet words of wisdom are the ones that settle deep inside us and we keep meditating on even after we get off the subway and the ad is gone.
Yeah.
It's still like inside us.
That's the hope.
I think also really outside of film, outside of ads, just brands showing up in ways that feel really honest or really relevant in people's lives and relevant to their point of view on the world. Like, we're working on an activation for Etsy that I think is so smart, because it's about showing up not where you would expect and being really useful and edifying to people. So I think right now the real opportunity is in brand acts, doing something out in the world that just really changes how somebody thinks about a brand and disrupts their day in a way that's not just bombarding them with communication. You can't hear my air quotes. Communication. And then it's because I'm always like being a contrarian. The thing that I don't want to see anymore is what an old colleague of mine called kooky dookie. Oh. Just where it's like, kooky dookie, we can, so we're gonna. Just like joke on joke on joke on joke. It's just like, I think that was really effective when people were really looking for entertainment. And we're so being inundated by entertainment in all forms that I think the onus is less on a brand to be entertaining than I think profound or useful. And so that's where I go, is thinking about how to be profound and useful, which doesn't mean not entertaining. I think those things are entertaining and that they actually make you feel something, which is really what entertainment's supposed to do.
Right, yes. Entertainment that's more amusement, like to not think aspect. Yeah. So it becomes part of noise or white noise.
Yes.
And overwhelming.
Because we're already not thinking or just dissociating.
Right,
So I think that's less the goal than it used to be. It's like entertainment to think. And I think that brands can make people think in ways that aren't just, I think people think that's like gnarly. Like, I don't want to do that, but I actually think it's great. Yeah. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah. What is a ad or a campaign that has stood out to you? Not that you've worked on, just that you've grown up with, or recently, it could be really fad that stood out to you, but it's like it affected you. Like it's like changed you either in a positive way or emotionally moved you or allowed you to appreciate something either about yourself or about humanity.
I think when I started my career in advertising, looking at Nike women's print stuff that I think Kathy Heppenstall and Janet Champ wrote, and it was just really had the confidence to understand that when you're talking about women's athleticism, you're also talking about women's bodies, and not to try to pretend that's not true, but to acknowledge that it's very true. So that really expanded my idea. I mean, when I got into advertising, I really had no idea how to write an ad. I think I was very bad at it. And that was like the master class for me. You mentioned Was it the NPR work recently?
Yeah, I like that recently, how they mischief turned NPR into why or how, or the questions journalists ask. I think that's great. But way back when, I mean, there was a couple things. I was like, there's the Sony Bravia Balls spot that actually Fallon did, and I didn't know
So good.
that I remember seeing before I knew about Fallon, probably. And that was like a moment where I'm like, I didn't know you could do that. And then to like find out, like to actually meet the producers who worked on it and realize like, yeah, it was done practically. And like they released 500,000 bouncy balls throughout the streets of San Francisco. And
they picked him up?
They did. It was a very big deal. Absolutely. But that was one of the first times I was like, oh, you can do something really simple and artful and also land the message even better, because I now care and I'm now watching and I really love what I'm seeing. And then it's like, oh, okay, you just sold me a TV. What? And it didn't feel sneaky. It felt like a very graceful landing. I was like, oh, that's really elegant. And that's not a word often used, I think, in advertising. So that was something that really affected me.
That ad blew my mind.
It blew my mind.
It totally blew my mind. And I will always remember the moment where the frog leaps out of the drain pipe.
Yes.
And that also blew my mind. I learned a lot from that. Oh, you can have a frog. You can have a sort of non sequitur in the middle of an ad, and it just makes people feel it harder. And
yeah. But I think one that I'm clearly drawn to like very simple work is the Find Your Greatness kid running down the road.
I thought of that one earlier.
Yeah, it's like that's before even I've been chronically online. I think I've always been drawn to things that are confidently simple, and that's the bar for me personally, is something that like allows you to exhale and absorb and not be like sold to or inundated is really, really special. And it's really hard to do, really hard to sell something that
really hard to sell.
Simple and confident. And that Find Your Greatness spot was just like, that's my personal bar. But then
the copywriting on that is just so
unbelievable.
Unbelievable. But like as a writer, I think a lot when you start out, especially, I think you think in order to feel useful, you need to write dialogue packed spots, monologues. Like, I have to prove that I'm a good writer by like just wall to wall voiceover or whatever. And yeah, that's not my opinion. I think the really good writers know how to get out of the way. And some of the best writers have worked on the quietest spots, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
But like another one is Nothing Beats a Londoner, which is opposite of what I'm talking about. It's like full gas. And
I don't think I've seen
Nike.
It's very good.
I think about that a lot. It's one of those spots that I'm like, I don't know how you made it. I'm jealous that you made it. And that's such a great example. And like, as much as I love simplicity, I love specificity. And that is so specific. You watch that spot and you maybe never been to London, and it feels like you leave that spot knowing more about the city because it's so specific to the neighborhoods and the people who live there. And it does it while fully entertaining you, and you want to watch it again and again. And anyway, kind of a cop out to like have two Nike examples, I guess, but it's, yeah.
Oh, them.
Casual Nike, but yeah.
Well, any passion projects that you guys are working on?
You mean like non-advertising?
Yeah, or non-orchard.
Side quests.
Yeah.
Side quests.
Side quests, that's a good way of wording it too.
I want to someday start a hotel.
Oh, yes.
Like a 10-room hotel. I've had this fantasy for a long time. There's this hotel in Astoria, Oregon that I used to really love called the Commodore. But it
I've been there. I've stayed
kind
there.
of went to shit. They put a vending machine in the lobby with like vitamin water. You know what a travesty that is.
I do.
But I have
this
fantasy.
It's like a TV in a good restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. I have a fantasy of somehow getting like a 10-room hotel, completely like creative directing.
Yes.
The entire experience. What's that?
I just glom onto this idea and do it with you.
Like, this is her idea. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
You can be a silent benefactor with
My father and I went to Austria, and a few other countries too, but The final place we stayed was at this hotel, but it was only about 10 rooms. And she like ran it herself. And it was an amazing experience. I absolutely adored it.
It's the perfect size of a hotel because it's totally immersive, right? There's not like all this random leaky energy. It's like a very held environment. And yeah, so now if I go anywhere, I'm always like, what would the 10-room hotel model be here? How I would make this happen is another thing entirely, but it is a persistent fantasy of mine, and I spend a lot of time thinking about it.
I love that. What
about
be
you?
The theme of it? Like, would it be like
I think it
patchwork,
totally,
modern?
well, that's why it's such a fun fantasy is because it depends where I imagine it. Like, if it's in Portugal, maybe it's sardine themed, or Palm Springs, or I'm from Omaha, and like Omaha is really fertile for fantasies for me because it's still like really undervalued, and there's lots of cool historic real estate. And so like starting a beer hall, Brooklyn style 15 years ago, it still hasn't happened in Omaha. You could do that. Or there's this hotel there called the Prague Hotel that I've been looking at my whole life. And I've always wanted to bring it back to life. Someone told me it has been purchased, which is not good. But there's a lot of like great real estate there. So, it just depends where it would be, what the theme would be.
Yeah.
I actually also am a self-declared, I call myself a house perv because I I get really into looking at houses and thinking about houses. And I don't mean like buying houses, that I just mean, on the internet. And I think people do this sort of violence to houses where they're like, oh, this needs a fill in the blank. And it's like, no, look at the house and then decide what it needs. So the hotel model is kind of the same. Where is it? What's the building look like? Give it to me. I'll make it happen. I think it was Simon Doonan said that there should be a punchline in every room. And I very much believe that. And my house has a lot of punchlines in it that aren't immediately apparent to people, but like I like to have a joke in every room.
That's good.
And yeah, I think that's like a great principle. So I guess my hotel would be full of jokes.
There you go.
Love that.
I love that.
There you go.
I love that. Yes.
And you have to like find them.
Exactly. Did you get it?
Where's the
There'd be like a legend on like the hotel,
Yes.
the legend joke A in room 324.
I love that.
My dream brain is always quickly edited by my reality brain. But if I were to, I'd probably own a cafe. Probably not a full restaurant, but I make a good sandwich. I make a really good sandwich.
What kind of sandwich is your specialty?
Well, again, it's seasonal.
Okay, all right.
But I think my sandwich of the summer last year was like a sauteed zucchini sandwich. So zucchini sauteed with garlic and lemon peel, like zest.
Wow.
So that you cool that off, and then you put that on a sandwich with a little bit of mayo, arugula, basil. Oh, and then stracciatella cheese or buffalo mozzarella. So it's like really creamy, really bright and lemony. Oh, and artichokes.
What kind of bread?
Just like a simple ciabatta, I think would be good. But yeah, I think I could have the cafe near your hotel.
I love this. The fun thing about getting on Zoom with Christine is it's like, what you eating? And she answers with that. And then I'm like, oh, I'm having peanut butter toast.
It's not always crazy, but
It's usually pretty crazy.
I am lucky. I think I live very close to like a fresh mozzarella store and a bakery, and just a nightmare for anybody celiac or lactose intolerant. My block is rife with that.
My mouth is watering thinking about your block right now.
I know, it's really nice. It's like,
I think sourdough is my favorite.
I love sourdough.
So good.
yeah,
Love it.
yeah, it's the best. That's
I
the
was
best part of San
very
Francisco.
happy I had multiple friends that got into the COVID sourdough kick.
Wow,
Like,
lucky
yes,
man.
more of that, please.
I
Why'd you
tried
stop?
biscuits, and I was like, that's enough.
I'm going to go hard on zucchini now.
Do it. I love zucchini.
All right, a couple more questions and we'll wrap it up so we can let you guys go. If you were to, this is both like a recommendation for people out there now, but if you were to talk to your younger self, just getting going, what would you say?
I think the best thing that I did was when I started, I was absolutely terrified. I knew I wasn't good yet. And when I could see the gap between myself and people I admired, it felt totally insurmountable. So I was just like, what can I control? I can outwork everyone in this building. So I would just sit at my desk, like that short story, that Melville story, Bartleby the Scrivener. I was Bartleby the Scrivener. I was just like, I'm not leaving until I'm good. That helped because I got better, and also I think people felt bad for me, and so they weren't going to fire me. Mm-hmm. And I eventually figured it out. So I think like work really hard. And also, I think I would have said when I started my career to fight harder for your work, but I think somehow people have gotten the memo about that part. So I would say the opposite now, which is to take feedback on the chin, take it graciously and gracefully, and actually incorporate it, even if you don't agree with it, because I think everyone's they think that just because it's their perspective, it's objectively good, and that's not necessarily true. And so I think to take feedback more graciously is something I would encourage people to do, because people remember if it sucked to manage you. Yeah. And I think I didn't know when I was young is that I would be saying these exact same people for the next 20 years. I had no idea. Luckily, because I'm from Nebraska, I'm used to being accountable to people for being kind, and I was just naturally that way. But that's not just interpersonally, that's not just at the coffee machine. That's when somebody is giving you hard feedback, to be gracious about it. And it's hard. It's hard to get news you don't want. But I think it's important to be gracious about it, because everybody's just doing their best. Your client is doing their best. They're terrified. They have a lot of money that they're making decisions about. Your client is terrified too. And so when you give them a hard time, it sucks for everybody. What about you?
Oh, that's a good answer.
That's good, yeah.
And world peace.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, God, that's such a good answer. I would say the same thing, but to do something different.
That's right, you can't, she said it.
I think you don't have to hold on so tight all the time. A lot of my career, for the similar reasons, like I have been so lucky to be surrounded by like some of the greatest people in this industry by accident. I lucked into working with Jeff Kling and Jim Lasser and David Kolbush and Heather Larimer and Patrick Figueroa, my creative director from Fallon. Like, I've been around so many really incredible people that like my bar was so high right out the gate. And I'm like, I'm trying to like 0 days on the job, try to like write like Jeff Kling. It's not going to happen, you know,
Good
like
luck.
Good luck. And I think in order to try to feel control or to try to feel like I was not a total imposter, I would grip the wheel very hard. And like, if everything didn't go right, then it would all fall away. And it's like, I think to relax a little bit and realize like nobody makes something on their own. No partnership makes something on their own. It kind of goes back to that stamina we were talking about. Like, in order to get something made, you have to have flexibility, I think, in your thinking and your ways of seeing your idea. And I think it is a graciousness too of getting feedback and being not like immediately met with, no, we can't do that. Like, and being like, okay, some of the best choices we've made were sometimes based on client feedback or a push from strategy to be like, have you considered seeing your work that you care so much about through this lens? And I think the instinct, especially when you're young, is to be like, no, I need this is the idea, and I have to make this idea, and to just kind of like tell myself to relax and find the core of what you know is most important, and trust that will find its way through, even if like the shell or the shape or the color changes a little bit along the way.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's good
That was
stuff.
good.
Now, I also realized, Michelle, what is an ad or a campaign that's impacted you?
Well, the
we
one
didn't get all the way around the
it's
table
okay.
here.
Well, the one that came to mind for me, this one's like has been seen everywhere, is the one with the little boy in the car and he's in the Darth Vader outfit and he's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
practicing
I was
his
going to
moves.
bring that one up. I love that ad.
Heartwarming. The way the father is just like, I'll just let him have this moment of magic. Like, let him just think that. No, I just think about the little boy and how I feel like the little boy is going to remember this moment for all of his life, that one time that this act of magic happened. And I don't know if he'll ever know. But it reminded me of like this one time in my life when I was around 5 years old too. And I remember waking up on Easter and my parents had left like a Easter basket near my bed, but there was like this music playing. And to this day, I don't know where the music came from.
Yeah.
It was like this beautiful music was playing. I opened my eyes. It was like the sun was coming in through these diaphanous curtains that were in my room that were like shaded like pink. So the light was filtering through. My room was so perfect and beautiful. And I just remember that moment as being so perfect and beautiful, like the music. And to this day, I don't know where the music came from. It just was like,
That was your Polar Express moment.
yes. So I think about that with the Darth Vader and the boy, and I want to create more moments like that of wonder and maybe like some mystery, and so I loved it that commercial captured.
That's
that
really
moment.
beautiful.
That's amazing. I love that.
Commercial.
I almost brought that one up,
Yeah.
but I was like, I'm going to blow it if I try to explain this commercial. But you did it.
I had a little more time to reflect on it.
Just this. I was just going to do this, which doesn't
Yes.
work on a podcast.
Yes. Oh,
I did that too,
boy.
though.
I get it in person. I know what commercial that is for sure.
Yes.
Sometimes I like doing this, and that is one cool thing. I don't know if you've heard this on other podcasts, but I like when I do it. Literally could be anything. It could be a book, a website, a app, board game, a piece of trivia or something like that. But yes, one cool thing. I'll start. I like this puzzle game called Clues by Sam.
Clues by Sam.
Clues by Sam. It's like a daily puzzle.
Amazing.
Cluesbysam.com. And
What?
and it's kind of like in the same vein as like Wordle or something, but it's not a word game. It's just like a logic game, a whodunit. Like
Sure.
you just have a grid and you have to figure out who's innocent and guilty. And everyone says a statement that's always true. And by it, you can start to deduce who's innocent and guilty throughout the whole thing. Yeah.
It's like Mafia kind of.
It is kind of like that. Yeah. It's like
Sure.
Mafia and Wordle had because
I like that.
at the end of you get a grid, and if you made a mistake, it'll turn yellow, and your grid, if you got everything right, it's all green grid. She's like writing it down right now. Clues by Sam.
Like that's fun.
Shout out.
No, it's really great.
sponsorship.
And it starts similar like the crossword puzzle in that it's easiest on Monday and it
Sure.
gets really hard by Sunday. So
I'm gonna check this out.
yeah. So I got in practice. Sometimes I get the Monday like under 2 minutes. I can get through it and I feel really proud of myself.
Yeah.
But like I think I started, my first one was like a Saturday and my second one was a Sunday. I think I spent like 3 hours on it, which is really embarrassing.
Incredible.
Yeah. Clues by Sam.
Cluesbysam.com.
Yeah.
That's cool. That is a one cool thing.
Yeah.
My one cool thing is very analog.
Oh, love a good analog.
I sort of invented it from a mindfulness practice, but I started doing it with my youngest kid, Ned. We call them noticing walks. And I do them by myself too, which is I go on a walk and I make myself notice things and name them.
That's a way to get out of a panic attack.
That's what we would do.
Yeah.
Ned would be having anxiety, and we would just hold his hand and say, "What are you noticing?" And so then we just start naming things. But I have a lot of anxiety. I wonder where Ned got it.
Tree, a bird.
Yeah, and I'll be like, "Oh, look at those lilacs." He, and then just or listen to that noise, and it's really incredible because you just remember that like none of this matters that much. There's lilacs and birds and rabbits, and so noticing walks. That's my one cool thing.
I love that.
Great.
I love that.
Actually
Noticing
connects
walks.
really well to my fact. This isn't the thing. It's just my favorite fact of the season because it's spring. You probably know this, but magnolia trees are so old that they predate the bee. So they're like the only tree that is pollinated by beetles.
I saw that too.
Yeah, I learned it a couple years ago. And when magnolia trees bloom in New York, you're just like, and I'm from the Midwest, from Minnesota, and we do not have like those kind of big flowering trees, not magnolias. And I was like, oh my God, these are so special. And they really are.
But
like
I've never
dinosaurs
seen
ate
a
them.
beetle on them though.
Yeah.
That's my question. Is I've never seen beetles on them, like pollinating.
I don't know, maybe they're nocturnal. I don't know, I made that up. But
You said it with confidence, though.
that's half the job. Yeah, they're fascinating to me. I love plant facts.
Yes.
What about you?
My one cool thing, I started doing, so on Saturdays, I started painting. Now, I'm not a painter or anything, but my neighbor was getting rid of all of these canvases and paintbrushes and that kind of thing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get artsy. I had all these bare walls in my apartment. I was like, it's time. I'm a creative. I should be able to make some art. So I started on Saturdays. I literally put it on my schedule as creative day. And I wake up and I get all my paints out and my brushes and I just started painting just abstract stuff because that's all I can do is coloring shapes and stuff. But it is so fun. Just painting anything, just colors. And I'm not on my phone, and it's almost like I put on this music, and it's just like almost like a meditative. And by the end of the Saturday, not that I'm painting all day, but I try to make it like a day of like art type things. And I just feel my soul just feels so full.
That's so
after
cool.
And like life affirmed. And I feel like I have so much more energy now because I had this actual like day of rest where I just came out of the world and just did something kind of creative for myself.
Scrolling on TikTok doesn't do that for you?
Yeah, you become your own producer, not a consumer. And somehow producing gives you energy. You would think that consuming would give you energy, but
no, it takes. It's like being on Zoom.
Yeah, but it's similar to yours about noticing and meditating on and being still. So all those things I think are very needed for our hearts.
Well, and I want to say, I'm not a painter, and I want to say the difference between somebody who is an artist and who isn't is literally doing it.
Yeah.
My mom is an artist and went to many an art fair with her, and the things I would hear people say when I was in the back of the tent were horrifying. And I see it all the time where people are like, oh, I could do that. Oh, I could make that. I'm not going to pay for that. I can make it. Then make it. Then make it. Like, absolutely. It's really like people, I think being a true artist requires some sort of ineffable quality that you can only access if you're special and you were born with it. And I'm like, just like love, it's a practice. It's action. Yeah. Like, if you don't do it, then you're not going to do it. But so I'm just saying, you are a painter.
Thank you.
By virtue of painting.
Thank you. Although when I did start painting, I was like, I realized how much harder painting was. Even if you're just painting shapes, I was like, this looks bad. Like, this looks not like, you think it would be easier. At least I thought it'd be way easier in my mind.
Yeah.
It was like so difficult. But
if you work harder than anybody else there,
you're getting better. Well, my shapes are improving.
They'll feel sorry for the entire painting.
It's true. But I think it was a quote by Tyler, the Creator, that was like, create like a child, edit like a scientist. And I love that because I'm like, that's kind of it. It's like what you can apply that to almost anything is like go as wide and wild and let yourself like take the editor away when you're creating. Totally. And I have to tell myself that because like it's very hard to do. And it's very hard to do in our job because it's like, again, when you're on a shoot, it's like every minute is like $1,000.
And
you're like
watching.
It's like it's hard to like find room for that, but I think in life, creating like a child,
wonder. It's all about wonder.
Yeah.
Vision is overrated. If you have wonder, you're halfway
vision
there.
is insufferable. People say they have a vision. Shut up.
Well, I think Elizabeth Gilbert talked about in her Big Magic book.
Oh yeah,
that was a good book.
Yeah, it was a great book, right?
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, and she talked about how so many people feel hung up to like figure out their passions, or vision, or whatever it might be, and she just found like interest, or just like what do you find interesting, like, and that just a small little bit of curiosity. You don't need much of that. You can just have a little peek, like, oh, that's interesting, and that gives you in a direction. Whereas passion's like a lot of pressure, like you have to have it all figured out.
And it
requires
like authority. Passion and vision require authority, but wonder is like you don't have to justify wonder.
Exactly.
You feel it.
So true.
I love that. Oh man, this group hug. I know. Yeah, no, this is great. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate
This is
you.
great.